So what happened today? Let's start with the foreign exchange markets because that's where the bloodbath really escalated, and it had Turkey's fingerprints all over it. On the day, the Turkish lira was obliterated, and on the week, along with the Turkish lira, the Argentine peso, Russian ruble, the rand, and real all collapsed. And emerging market foreign exchange crashed the worst week since September 2011. The yuan fell for the ninth week in a row, but that drop was nothing. The Argentine peso crashed to a new record low. The Turkish lira went full meltdown to a new record low. The ruble plunged to 27-month low. The rand was routed, and Brazil's real was battered. Cryptocurrencies were clubbed like it. Well, warning for those with sensitive ears. Plug your ears. So let me go back. Cryptocurrencies were clubbed like a baby seal thanks to a big midweek dump. Okay, you can unplug your ears now. Finally, with all the destruction, the dollar surged on the week. So because of Turkey, you can say that we all got Istanbul dozed. Let's take a look. And we're looking at the 1-year daily chart on the S&P. I'm using the 1-year chart so we can capture the previous high back here in late January. And I've drawn these trend lines here, this horizontal line, which is more or less the peak back in January, and then this diagonal trend line which connects the peaks of each of the moves that we've had since, say, mid-April on up here. And isn't it interesting that once we get up here to this trend line, the diagonal as well as the horizontal on the previous high, I kind of figured we'd have a hesitation because of that, and we did have a hesitation, but today turned into much more of a hesitation. Does it really mean all that much? Probably not, simply because when you take a look at the NASDAQ were at new highs, and when you take a look at the Dow Industrials still have a ways to go before they get to new highs. So this is really not all that meaningful, but it is interesting that when you set these charts up, there's an uncanny ability to have hesitations at these trend lines, and that's why I figured we'd have a hesitation here before we continued on moving. But we're going to have to wait and see. Today was pretty damaging. We'll have to wait and see what happens this weekend and into next week. But right now, I think the probabilities have changed a bit, and that's not all that unusual for short-term trading, let's say. Looking at the MACD, we had the fast line move through the slow line earlier this month, and then we had the reflection, and I was expecting a move up and a continuation based on what happened in the chart here at this point, here at this point, and then here at this point. I figured we'd have a hesitation a little bit, but I thought that we might extend. So I'm changing that a little bit because today, Friday, there was a lot more damage to the market than anticipated, but we'll have to wait and see what happens this weekend. But for right now, it looks like this move upward may be halted when we might have a move on down into subsequent weeks. We'll see. The MAC histogram shows that pretty much. The relative strength shows that we had a pretty good decline here for the last couple of days or so, as well as in the stochastics. And the volume picked up. Volume has been a little bit tepid lately. So this big red move, it's not huge, but definitely is larger volume than we've had going back for, say, a month or so. But that is not necessarily a good sign. But just one day doesn't really make a trend. And then to the Williams is heading on down. We'll see if that can turn and reflect back up, but we're going to have to wait into next week. Going back up to the price chart, I think that this resistance here, we've always got double resistance because of the horizontal trend line and the diagonal trend line. So we have a little bit more overhead resistance than would be normally expected. If we can get through these two trend lines, then we have blue sky. So we'll have to wait for that though, because it looks like we have this reflection on down, and then perhaps that could continue. We'll have to wait and see. Once again, this one is a little bit harder to anticipate just because of a lot of the political motivations out there and the emerging markets, particularly with Turkey. There's some political background to that problem that they had today. So some of that is going to have to get rectified. The market will get used to that, and if we happen to head down, consolidate, we'll make another move up and hopefully through those two trend lines. But that is going to have to wait for next week or perhaps the week after. So for now, that's ChewDog Charts. Thank you.